Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of. In light of it being Black History Month, I wanted to share with you all three of my personal favorite films that star black actors as vampires that may have flown under your radar. The first is the 1973 horror film Ganja and Hess, which stars Darlene Clark and Dwayne Jones. The film follows anthropologist Dr. Hess Green, who becomes a vampire after his assistant stabs him with an ancient cursed dagger. Hess then falls in love with the assistant's widow, who is named Ganja, and she learns about his dark secret after the fact. The director of this film is Bill Gunn, who also starred in the film as well. This film is on my list of my favorite vampire films of all time. If you have not seen this film, I cannot recommend it enough. It is terrifying, it is gory, it is psychedelic in many ways, and the use of practical effects is wonderful and tasteful. I would suggest you add it to your watch list. Now, the second film I would like to mention is the 1990 film Death by Temptation, which stars James Bond III, Samuel L. Jackson, Kadeem Hardison, Bill Nunn, and Cynthia Bond. The film is set in New York City and follows a succubus, which in this film can be interpreted as a vampire due to her actions, who preys on men. She gains the attention of a minister in training named Joel, his childhood friend named Kay, as well as a police officer who is helping them with the situation. A fun fact about this film is that James Bond III actually directed, wrote, produced, and starred in it. At the end of the day, this film is a horror comedy. I think it is fantastic. It is really not talked about enough in the horror community. I had to throw this one on the list as it is, again, one of my personal favorites. If you haven't seen it, I would highly suggest that you watch it as well. And the last film I wanted to bring up is the 2016 film The Transfiguration, which stars Eric Ruffin and Karen Churches. The film follows a teenage character named Milo that has a deep fascination for vampire lore. He becomes friends with a girl named Sophie, and their friendship starts to blur Milo's vampire fantasy into his reality, where he cannot distinguish the difference. The film was directed by Michael O'Shea, and if I'm being honest, this film deserved a lot more praise than what it got. I thought it was a wonderful adaptation of a vampire tale, and to me it is one that is worth watching, especially because it is a modern film. Some of my honorable mentions include Angela Bassett as Rita in the 1995 Vampire in Brooklyn film, as well as Grace Jones, who played Katrina in the 1986 film Vamp. I also want to mention Wesley Snipes, who played Blade in the film series. He was one of my biggest crushes growing up. Shocker. And lastly, but certainly not least, my personal favorite, Aaliyah, who played Akasha in the 2002 film Queen of the Damned. If you end up watching any of the three films that I recommended, I would love to know your thoughts on them. I would also love to know if you have any recommendations for vampire films that you'd like my review on. Please let me know in the comments below. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful, happy Black History Month.